everybody. No, that's not doing what it should. Oh, it is. Okay. I thought for a minute it wasn't. I'm trying something a little different today. I got myself some Bluetooth extender, and I am trying so that you can't hear what I hear. So you shouldn't hear beeps and bangs and buzzes and, well, you might hear my phone, because, you know, phones are really good at that. But you shouldn't hear my PC making any further noises. Part of the reason for that is potentially then, if necessary, I can stream me some music. I still can't hear the music you can hear, which kind of regretting at this point, but I can hear me, I can hear sounds from my computer. So with any luck, I have got it reading me lines from chat. So I need you to talk to me. So let me just put a message in. It did that. That's a good thing. And I then want to pin that. Yeah. What I will need to do is stop it telling me things that I've said, because, well, I don't know what I said. I wrote it. I know it sounds really shocking. If I wrote it, I know what it said, because I did it. Okay, so let's move on. Once again, a few things in my mind are weighing on me, so I'm not quite myself. But we also had a bit of a dog catastrophe, not with the lace this time. So, I have two dogs, brother and sister, and I love them dearly, especially when they're asleep. But I do love them very much. However, occasionally, they're just minding their own business, and then they have a big fight. And they had a big fight. And he took a great chunk out of her leg. Nothing worthy of a trip to the vet yet, but depending on how well it goes, maybe there is. So it's not ideal. Now, you should be twisted at least. Should you be the whole twist, the full twist, nothing but the twist? Or should you just be twisted? Let's look and see what you are. You are the whole twist. So, undo you and do a whole stitch. Right, you're a whole stitch. We'll do you in a minute. Do I want to work downwards? I think I do. Oh, I bought some more of the sticks. Look. Now I have a veritable pile of sticks. I do have many sticks, so we don't have to quite cram so many on in one go. So this should be a good thing. So let's undo you as well. And you are tangled from somewhere around about here. Stickety, stickety, you are around about there, you are a whole stitch from there, and you're a whole stitch from there. And that gives us 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There is technically 5, so we need... Oh, careful dog. Made me jump, because I didn't hear you coming. You're right, little one. She's feeling a bit sorry about her paw, because obviously it's bruised as well. So she is not so pleased. Oh yeah, did you enjoy your tea? Hello. I know, you've realised that Mummy loves you dearly. Yes. Yes, you have. Because I made sure your paw was good, your leg was good, didn't I? It has swelled slightly, I think. Let's have a look. It's a bit puffy, isn't it? Little look. Oh, it's on the back of her leg, and the only way to look at it is to raise it up. Big pansy. Ow, don't hit me in the face. I think it's just a bit bruised. It'll be fine. We will check on it constantly, because that's what we do. Right, so I'm going to put you around there. I'm going to take magic dark cloth, fold it in half, try not to hit the microphone because it's kind of in the way, and there we go, fold it in half, place it at the top, then we can move you around the corner. You just moved. I'm sure you just moved. Sure you just moved. Okay. So, don't you do more annoying things. Right. And I need 4 of you. There we go. So, we need to, before I do that actually, we need to twist you. Then we need to do a thing, and then we work through. So we need to lengthen all of these a bit. Part of the reason I've asked the computer to read me chat is so that I don't miss it and you don't talk to me and I ignore you. That it will effectively translate you into live sounds so that I can respond in kind and act almost like I heard you. So, with any luck, this should work. Now, a friend of mine who set this up said he had 2 copies of things. But when I tried it, I definitely only had the one. So, I don't know what he did. I don't know what I've done different, because I thought I told him how to set it up. But I showed him how I set mine up, and had tested it, and it worked. So I don't know where he got the echo thing from, because apparently Speakerbot just started reading all of his stuff for him. And I don't quite know how it does that. Because I didn't think it actually had a connection to Twitch. I'm just going to quickly look. Which one's Speakerbot? That one's Speakerbot. Don't woof at him. Oh, I know your leg hurts. Let's do that. Voice alias, done that. Event states. See if it's got those. No, you didn't break it. Hi. Yes, that worked quite well. And I definitely only got one, so that worked really, really well. Hello, welcome to the channel. I'm just getting going, and I've made a few changes, so you just helped me very well with testing out my speaker thing, because I was not looking, and it spoke to me in my ear holes, so that's a good thing. I'm quite happy with that. And with any luck, you didn't hear it. So of course, I can't hear what you can hear, which is very difficult. I suppose what I could do is I could have put my ear things in on my phone and have them play the channel back to me, but then hearing myself with a delay, I just know that would make my brain melt. It's like playing the organ. I can't do that. I can barely play the piano at the best of times, but playing an organ when there's like a 5 to 30 second delay on it, just no, can't be doing that. So, hello, do you have any questions? This is the important question of the day. Do you have any questions other than, what the hell are you doing, woman? And what are you on about? You're allowed to ask those two. you got hiccups because you ate your dinner too quick? Dog's hiccuping in the background. So yes, I haven't got a lot to talk about today, so kind of need a bit of input to get going, I think. Oh, thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Obviously, because Thor does stream for quite a long time, I don't normally put my streams around what he does, but today I did watch most of it because he was playing Noita, and I like it. Can you hear music now? Because you should hear very familiar music. Okay. Interesting. Oh, it is. It's louder than normal. What the what's going on? Normally it's not that loud. So let me fix that. Well, thank you for oops, didn't want to do that one. I know it's normally much better than that. So, actually, that's my voice bit. That's right. Let me turn it down a little bit more then. For some reason, my brain is proving to be incapable of doing anything. Interesting, because normally that's not too bad. So, is that a little better? Okay. Okay. Let me now see if I play me something, whether you can hear it, because I don't want to get copyright striked on anything. So, let me go to Audible or something. Yeah. Audible. I can't even spell audible for the moment. Typical me. Let me go to something on my library. And it's got to come over really loud on mine. Can you hear anything other than the traditional music? Sweet. Excellent. So, to be honest, that's exactly what I kind of expected to happen. But like everything, because it's stream, and I can look at dials that say you're not hearing it, but if it merges quietly with other things, I won't know. And so thank you very much for that. That's really helpful. I feel happy knowing that if I want to quietly listen to music, yes. So I can now listen to some music, or the only problem is that I tend to try and sing along. So yeah, let's not do that. But, for example, I just played a handful of minutes of Benjamin Wallace of Crossroads of the Apocalypse. Well, this is how I did the music originally, is that I used Media Player to play to a source that I know didn't have anything attached to it, so that I don't have to listen, no offence to the Heartbound music, all the time, because maybe I'd go a little nuts. But it also meant that, because otherwise you would hear it through the microphone, because I don't have a directional microphone, and then potentially you'd hear it twice. Or I could not have it play through direct to you, but then you'd hear a crappy version through the microphone. So I had media play to, funnily enough, my monitor, which has a headphone socket, but I haven't got any headphones in it, obviously. So I played it to that, and it picks that up, and so it's crystal clear for you, but I don't get to hear it. And so I can then concentrate on other things. But being slightly autistic, for some reason, my brain cells get a little bit rebellious in deathly silence. They really don't like deathly silence. And because I can't hear myself speak, I struggle with wearing earphones and headphones and the like. So I can wear one, but I can't wear two, because I can't hear anything. And so the solution for this, and this was what I came up with for my friend who's working on his car, is he didn't want to have kind of like the Stephen Hawking voice reading him out the chat so that we could all hear the chat, because, well, we know what we said, we're looking at it. He wanted to just hear it, and I said, well, play it through just to your earphones. Yeah, I am pretty high functioning, but random bits of me just like to hang on with dear life to every inch of frustration. I'm quite intelligent until I'm not. And when I'm not, I'm very, very not. You see, I like over-the-ear headphones except for one problem. Yes, exactly that. I am the cleverest person in the room until my brain goes, no. And once it said no, that's kind of it. It's not happening. You can explain it all you like. No. Right? I have a problem with my ears. I had a boyfriend once who could literally roll his ears up and almost stuff them down the hole. I can't even lie on my ears. Well, I can for about 5 minutes, and then they screamingly hurt, like someone has kicked me in the head. And so I really do suffer with that. And I find that earphones that put pressure on my ears hurt. Things in my ears make my ears hurt. Everything, freaking everything makes my ears hurt. But I became deaf as a post when I was 3. Only for a bit. Perfectly normal now. There is a small range in one ear I can't hear. But I have perfectly reasonable hearing now. But my ears have forever been weird. I can't hear myself speak. At all. So if I put on, proper noise cancelling earphones, I end up screaming like I'm at a rock concert because I don't know how loud I am. It also means when I get a cold, I scream like I'm at a rock concert. And people kind of go, you're awfully loud today, Liz. I must be getting a cold. And they look at me a bit weird, and it's like, yeah, I must be getting a cold. And although I obviously don't really hear myself, there is a level of kind of vibration that my head expects. And the moment I get a cold, even that's not happening. And then it all goes to pot. So, yeah, I'm a great bundle of laughs, I am. So, I do struggle with the whole trying to find a pair of earphones, trying to find a headphone, and some will be fine for a while, then they won't. And I've got a headset for what? Well, it does, but I don't get a lot of the bone conduction in the first place. So when I have none of it, I don't get even that. I don't know, maybe it senses a faint buzzing and goes, that's about the right thing, because people don't shout at me when I'm at this volume. And then when I've got a cold, it obviously doesn't get that sort of notification of max volume and keeps going. And yeah, people have kind of taken me aside. Liz, you're really shouting. But I can't hear you! It is a bit embarrassing, but I'm an old fart. I'm kind of used to it. I just need the rest of the world to get used to it now. So I'm glad you understand. I really, really do. It's nice to be understood. So yes, it makes me who I am. It makes me who I am. Thanks for coming, though. Thank you. It made my day. I like seeing new people. did, but never mind. across a bit. That doesn't look right. I'm going to check it again. You've just taken out the pin I wanted. Let's work out you again. Thanks for that. So, undo you. Why am I so incapable of undoing this? There we go. Something's gone a bit wrong somewhere. Let's undo all this. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, my brain, what I actually find is that the more I think about something, the more convinced my brain is something that it's wrong, even if it's not. And the problem with that is obviously once my brain's convinced it's wrong, it must be wrong, even when it's right. And so I'm going to go back and undo, frankly, all of this, just because I don't want it to be wrong. I'm desperate for this to come out right, because, otherwise, forevermore, I'm going to look at this net curtain and hate it because, quote, it's wrong. So I'm kind of trapped in a bit of a prison of, much as I kind of don't want to spend 3 years making this thing, I want it to be right. And if the moment I knowingly think it's wrong, well, it's going to be wrong then, isn't it? And I will forevermore, and if it is wrong, and quite often you only actually tell once you take all the pins out. Yeah, and the problem is especially with this, if you look back here, let me zoom in a bit. Hang on, change things, zoom in, move over a bit, and up a bit. Hang on. If you look here, from your point of view, it looks a bit crowded because there's loads of pins. From my point of view, I have a forest of like 1 centimetre pins picking out the top. So to actually see each individual thread through that is near impossible. The only time you actually see whether it's gone wrong is when you pull the pins out and you look, and because there's the pins pushed down, so you can see that they look a little bit clearer. And here's with the pins removed. Well, with the pins removed, it's only when you really remove them you go, I'll put that up. And, well, of course, by the time you've removed the pins, it's too late. So, yeah. Now, where are we at? Here. We need to take you out next. Tiny pin. Stab. You out. Stick. you want to do? You. You can come out. Stab. You are next. As you say, it's sometimes you look at the ads and it's kind of like, I'm sorry, in what universe is this appropriate for me? Mind you, it's probably a bit like my spam mail. I must need a bigger penis, apparently. Well, yes, because I don't have one. It can only get bigger, you know. And sad part, but I would also like to point out, kind of don't need one. You know, it's you know, I'm single. I don't need one. It's just yeah. Actually, the ones I find funny are the oh, you must need a bra. Honey, if you make bras that fit me, I'll be happy. But you don't, so can you not? I am very much on par with your good self, although I don't do kilograms. I'd have to work out how much that is in pounds. But I think I'm rounder than you are. But I also am very much bespectacled. And while I don't technically wear dungarees, I do wear men's clothes because, well, they fit. And so, you know, I can just imagine the pair of us turning up going, you said sign up, so we're here. What are we going to do? You do want, like, oh, you don't really, oh, you didn't mean us. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah. Some of the adverts are hysterical. Yeah, I'm a bit like that. It's advert. I've always found adverts funny because on Facebook I get a lot of stuff about Milton Keynes. Now, if you're not British, it's hard to understand, but I don't live in Milton Keynes. I've never lived in Milton Keynes, and I don't live near Milton Keynes. and thanks for that. I know, and it's kind of like, I live in Gloucestershire, which is near Wales. It does have a lot of roundabouts. It's kind of designed a little. Have they got an IKEA? I think they possibly do. Now, Milton Keynes is in Nottinghamshire. Oh, okay. But I struggle because I'm in Gloucestershire, for Christ's sake. I'm nearly in Wales. I mean, yeah, I can believe that. But in Gloucestershire, I don't give a flying about, you know, Milton Keynes. No offence to Milton Keynes, but I don't give a fuck. So, oh, but you must want Milton Keynes. No, love. And no, I don't care that there are solar panel deals about stuff. Well, there is a bit of that. I was trying to be nice. But, you know, it is one of those things is you're sitting there going, if I wanted solar panels, first of all, I'd ask you about it. Secondly, I'm not in Milton Keynes, so I don't give a rat's that there's some deal about, you know, solar panels in Milton Keynes, because I ain't in Milton Keynes. You know, if it applies to me as well, that's great, but stop telling me, hey, there are people in Milton Keynes just like you. Well, probably, I doubt it, there's no one like me, so, yeah, really? And if there are people in Milton Keynes like me, God help them. So, you know, it's... It's a bit like when you meet an American and you say you're British and they go, "Oh, my cousin Bob lives in London, you must know him." No, I don't know everyone in the UK. Hate to break it to you, but there's a few million of us and haven't met you all yet. And most of the ones I met, not so keen on. So if your cousin was amongst them, I apologise, but... Yeah, and it's kind of like, well, to be honest, I used to live on west of London. Not actually technically in London, although we were the London Borough of Hillingdon. I make no beefs about where I used to live because, well, none of my family live there anymore, so it's not like I'm doxing myself. I used to live in Ruislip. And Ruislip is at the end of the Met Line in London, but it's the London Borough of Hillingdon, but well, it is inside the M25, has to be said, but it's not really London. Anyway, the number of people, you know, it's kind of like, we all hated London. Even the London people hate London. It's because it's full of arseholes. And so I'm sorry, but, you know, don't make assumptions, because, you know, you don't know what we like. How dare you? In a day and age when you cannot assume someone's pronouns, how dare you assume that we come from a village far, far away, you know. But I think to an extent... Well, exactly. Especially if it was around Christmas. Oh, dear God, if it was around Christmas, it would be more than enough. I did exactly that. I worked in London, well, slap bang in the middle of London. Rory, stop licking it. I know you did it and you're sorry, and I'm glad, but stop licking it. That's right. And, yeah, it was... Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, all those smelly, lovely bobbies and the underground. I can imagine that. I did jury duty about 2 weeks after my 18th birthday, and that was pretty freaking warm. And I used to walk as much home as I could. So I did jury duty at Westminster. I walked from Westminster to Baker Street, which sounds a long way. It's actually not. Actually, I didn't even do it with a map. I just kind of wandered. And I just kind of wandered and found myself in that direction and was like really proud of myself. And it was quite warm because, I'm sorry, but all you stinky people, no, I want to spend the least amount of time trapped in a chain with you people. No. I'm walking, thanks. I amused a lot of people because they were like, "What do you mean you walked it?" And it's like, you do realise the London Underground map is not to scale, right? It is so not to scale. So yeah. I'm still not quite sure how I actually managed to work my way on foot without screwing it up, but I did, so I was dead proud of myself. Good Omens had not been out long and someone had bought it for me for my birthday and I was reading it. That was funny. I love that book. Love that book with all my heart. My ex-husband is the devourer of books, and one of his favourite things to say to people is that he can't believe that me, who almost can name every book I ever read, and count them on, my fingers. found him the best book that he's ever read, because I gave him a copy of Good Omens. When in doubt, give someone a copy of Good Omens. And I gave him a book, and he's, you know, it's the best book he's ever read, kind of thing. And he's like, you who can't even spell your name reliably, you found me the best book. How? Well, someone gave me it. Duh. I didn't find it for myself. But I love that book. So yeah, I bought many copies of Good Omens over the years. When in doubt, a copy of Good Omens. I was lurking on a stream the other day, and the lady goes, "Oh, I'm looking for a new book to read." And I went, "Have you read Good Omens?" And she said, "Well, I started it, but I didn't finish it." What? How did you put that down? How did you stop reading that? You know, you almost have to call in sick because you're too busy laughing. How did you not finish that? So, she's going to finish it now, apparently. But I'm kind of like, you stopped? Oh, no. Oh, no. How can you not have read that? Actually, that would be a really good question. I run a Facebook group for some weaving, and we get a lot of spammers, and we introduced some questions. And they were really trivial questions, and frankly, if you know... and we... Yeah, I know. And depends on what you're thinking weavers are. And the questions are, how many shafts are in a Louet spring? Or sorry, what is the maximum number of shafts in a Louet spring? And you can Google it. It's really quite not hidden knowledge. And I do lots of hobbies. Where I'm sitting now, obviously you... No. And... that's the Megado. And anyway, where I'm sitting in my sitting room, which is where I work all day, so that I live on this couch, frankly, and I've knackered it. But behind me in my dining room is my pride and joy. I got a Louet spring. I love my Louet spring. It's a very nice loom, blah, 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 blah. But I realised, bear in mind, my kind of slogan should be go big or go home. So much as, realistically, I did a tiny bit of lace when I was a kid. I realistically only picked this up a couple of months ago. And I'm already trying to make a net curtain, which is huge. I mean, it's going to be nearly 1 metre long and 43 centimetres wide. So it's going to be quite big. And, you know, I do big things. It's how I roll, right? And I realised that the spring was not going to be enough for me. The maximum number of shafts, for which I did buy, was not enough. I wanted more complicated. And to be honest, if I'd known what I knew by this point, yes. I mean, why do like one Pikachu when you can do like 40 friggin' Pokemon, right? I mean, it's just, yeah. If you can do one, you can do the rest. It's just going to take a bit longer. And that's what I did. If I'm going to, I obviously clearly don't need bookmarks. I don't read. And if I do, it's a Kindle. So I don't need bookmarks. There's no point in me making a bookmark. I am not a lacy girl. I do not use frilly pink and all the rest of it. So if I want to do lace, I need to find something I would use. And the only thing I could think of was something that my brain cells had come up with much earlier in life, which was when I learnt double knitting, and I'd made a scarf and a king-size bedspread, to be fair, was that, well, why don't you... my brain cells back then went, Liz? Yes, brain cells. You know you've got a big window in the bedroom? Yes, brain cells. I look at it every day when I wake up. Well, if we double knit in really tiny yarn, we mean really, really tiny, extra fine crochet thread like yarn, yes, brain cells, we could make a really pretty mural type thing in black and white and have the black on the inside, the white on the outside, so the white reflects the light and the heat out and the black keeps it nice and dark in the bedroom. Yes, brain cells. Technically, yes, I agree. That would be technically possible. And think how great it would look, because those stitches would be tiny. Think of the dots per inch kind of factor and the how great and fancy you could make it. Oh, yes, brain cell, I agree. Exactly, right? And so for about, I don't know, must be nearly 15 years now, my brain cells have been going, are we making that curtain yet? And the answer has been no, brain cells, because I worked out that the short side, i.e. the width, the length of the window, which is about a metre and a bit, is something in the region of many thousands of stitches. And then the number of rows would be significantly more. And so as a result, the words punk and off may be arranged into a sentence, because I'd need a hug me jacket. And you know, if I was to be retired right here, right now, if someone gave, you know, if I won the European lottery or something. Tried that. So, I tried that. So, I've got a number of knitting machines, actually. To the point, I bought an industrial. I've got 13 of them. I don't need any more. Now, actually, technically, I've got 12. I did get rid of one. I bought an industrial one that properly did double knitting. I have its baby brother. Not here, but in storage. I have its baby brother. And it says it does double knitting, but it freaking don't. It lies. On one side, it looks like double knitting. On the other side, it looks pants. It because of how it works. Because if you think of a knitting machine, and it doesn't say take two colours and work the row. It takes one colour, works there, works back. Then it takes the next colour, works there, works back. So while technically that can work, if you imagine the following scenario. So let's have white and black. If it's got the black thread in its mind, it will skip the stitch, say, going left, and work it going right, because it needed it in the second row. But when it comes to do the white one, the black one's already there, so they're the wrong way round. Now you can start seeing how this doesn't work. And it doesn't even kind of go, I'll do all the white ones that need to go down on each side, and then I'll do the black ones that need to go down on each side, and then the white ones again, so you do like 4 passes. No. It does one pass, does both kind of there and back, doing the knits and pearls kind of thing, because obviously it's double bed. So, and as a result, the back tended to constantly have extra lines in it, because the front might look all right, but the back was just blown to bits. It looked awful. I mean, it was criminal. And this thing's like, well, brand new, would have been £7,000. It did look fucking arse. Whereas its proper big brother was capable and would have been all right, except I got sold a lemon and fucking scammed, frankly. Now, I bought the machine from a dealer. And this was his last one, because he was pulling out of dealing in that particular model. And it just so happened that particular one had only ever been used for one project, and it had made the baby blanket that went to some royal woman who dropped a sprog many years ago. And they then cut up the blanket and sent squares to, because they kind of made individual squares, double knitting, but as one big blanket, so they chopped it up, sent each square to various, baby wards around the country. It had only made that, but what had happened was it had a bit of damage from general overwear and tear, and he said he was going to send me the bits to fix it. Never did. We said he was going to send me the new software. Never did. He was supposed to give me a kind of day's training course on it. didn't, because he was due to arrive first thing Saturday morning. He actually arrived at about 9 o'clock Saturday night because, quote, when he tried to get the van, they didn't have one that would fit it, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you didn't think to kind of sort that out before when you ordered it. Yeah, so when he turned up, he couldn't even reverse the frigging van into my driveway, which really wasn't hard. So I reversed his van into the driveway, kind of showing him up a bit, which probably didn't help my case, to be honest. And I helped him carry it upstairs. We started a little bit of putting it together, and then he went to go home and sleep because he was tired. It had been a long day, and I can't argue with that. He did drive a fair bit. But he turned up late Sunday morning, so I'm talking like 10:30, 11. For 1 hour, we finished putting it together, and he kind of went, you need to start it like this. Zoom, 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 zoom. What? I blinked, and I missed that. Then you do this, then you can program this, then you can do this, and it went zoom, 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 zoom. But because of the damage to the bed where the needles run, it was skipping and dropping stitches. And he said, oh yeah, don't worry about that, I'll send you some when I get home. But he wouldn't answer any messages, and that was the last I ever heard of him. So I spent a lot of money finding the bits, but then I discovered that there was one fundamental problem. To take a lot of these bits off wasn't hard, but to put it back would have been, in that there was a big mega spring that ran under the bed. I'm not quite sure why, because it didn't seem to actually do what you might think it would have done. And without the spring, the whole thing would just sit there kind of giving you the finger. And as a result, I had all the bits. I bought a crap ton of replacement needles, because needles can break any time they like, because they're boring like that. I bought a replacement set of beds and a couple of extras just in case. But I never got to put them together because, of course, I'm single. There was no one to help me do it. And in the end, it sat in my bedroom for ages, and I never managed to make a single thing on it, which is a shame because, a bit like my lace making software that I've got, where you draw on the screen what you want, literally with this machine, you could draw what you wanted and say, make. And it would say to you, you know, at this point, it would say, do 100 lines and go, you now need to tell me which bit I'm doing next. And the codes would be on the machine as to what settings you needed to set to get the double knitting or whatever kind of style you wanted. And you'd type it in, and then you'd say how many rows there are. And the computer would actually tell it, knit purl for each and every stitch. And so it would pick a bed and work it all out. And it did properly do it. Except, of course, I only ever had about an inch of it that actually worked because of the bed. And so I sold it to this kid. I say a kid, he looked about 12. And he was the tiniest kid you ever did see. I've never seen such a skinny person. I mean, seriously, I've got fingers fatter than that kid. And he was a really nice guy, though. He was properly nice. And I made his day because I kind of just wanted rid of it. So I think I got 2 or 3 grand. I'd spend more than that. And he took it away, took all away the bits that I bought extra to fix it, which were nearly £1,000 worth of bits. And he and his boyfriend put it all together, and he then used it to continue his business, and he made beautiful things with it. So from that point of view, I'm really happy it got to live in a home and proved to be the thing that I'd wanted it to be. But because I was alone, I couldn't put everything together. So slightly knocked at that because, you know, I had a small plan because of what it was, and it had the thing was nearly, yeah. No, it was. I took. Yes, I took in this poorly knitting machine, and I helped him return to a better life, but I had originally all these dreams of, making custom blankets for people, like baby blankets and dog blankets and all that kind of thing. And I could have literally made anything, because you literally did. You kind of lined, you gave it a bit of wool and you kind of gave it a bit of a starting point, and you had to do enough to attach it to kind of this roller thing at the bottom where it rolls onto. But you literally would have done, here's my pattern, I'm going to make it in either, I don't know, pink and white. make this blanket, and you walk away. You don't even have to sit there. It's doing the whole shebang for you. And I mean, I had a little rant recently on stream about what constitutes homemade and what not. And I would honestly say that this machine was not homemade. It was not handmade, it was homemade. But the actual machine should have been a source of joy and a source of happiness, and it wasn't. And the best thing was to get rid of it. As I say, I've still got its baby brother, which has a motorised thing, so that if I choose to do, let's call it a standard knitting, so like a standard jumper, I can do that. I can do that with a heartbeat, and that will come out all right, because it's only one bed and it will just make it. But the whole double knitting thing that it's supposed to do, I tried every setting that it had. I'm sure you'll understand this. I want a proper old metal sock making machine with all my heart, because fuck sock yarn, it's too tiny, too many stitches for a tiny little sock. But if I had a machine and could just crank the handle, how they frickin' do ya, right? Exactly. And you're sitting there going, oh, I want one. And have you seen the price? Now, someone does make let's call it a 3D printed one. Someone does make one, and they're new ones, and you can get bits for it, and you can get different add-ons for it, and all of that kind of shenanigans, right? Wise person. Don't, because you just want one. I promise you want one. And I can tell you now, if you have ever thought of ever making anything, you want one, right? And I think that's about the only thing I don't own that I'm aware of that I want. I've got spinning wheels, knitting machines, I've got weaving looms, a plural. I have more bobbins than you can shake a stick at for lace making. I've got plenty of lace cushions to do lace making on. I have plenty of knitting needles, crochet hooks. I've got, well, technically, arguably, I've got 2 sewing machines, 2 sergers. One serger is a pile of junk and frankly should be yeeted off the nearest motorway bridge. But only when people aren't passing underneath, obviously, because that would be cruel. And why are you not finished? How dare you not be finished? Now I'm worried about other ones. I did finish you, that's right then. And so, yeah, I've got a serger that, frankly, if I yeeted that off a bridge somewhere, that's still too good an end for it. It doesn't do fundamentally what it's supposed to do. But I've got a really fancy sewing machine that can do fancy stuff. I've got a beautiful serger that does surgery stuff. I've got stuff. My house is a museum, frankly, for arts of the fibre kind. Technically I have 2 houses, and my old house has the knitting machines in it, all of these spare spinning wheels that... Now, spinning wheels, unlike a lot of other things, while they differ wildly, it's like drills and things. Drills have different powers, different, do they have thumpers, do they have, other settings and all the rest of it. But spinning wheels are very similar in that they do... Each make and model is almost best for a certain environment. They snuck up on me. I actually have a little thing that I put on StreamerBot that detects when the ad starts and pings me 3 seconds before you guys come back, just so that, you know, if I decide to have a bit of a rant and a blind kind of thing, or I've wandered off, that I'm aware that it's kind of time. So, yeah. Well, that's a bent pin and a half. What a state of this. This just can't be doing with this. Look at it. Wiggly wiggly. Don't need wiggly ones. It's not a ferret. As you can see, it's quite quiet around here, which, as you can imagine, for example, if you weren't here, who would I be talking to, right? I'd be talking to myself, and much as I am actually doing this primarily for my own documentation, it gets frustrating if there's no one to talk to. So. Well, quiet's okay, but deathly silent is a little bit much. True, you can stitch and listen. There's a lady who comes on my Friday stream sometimes. Her name's Elizabeth. She's really nice. And she weaves. While she does this, she comes from one of the weaving groups that I'm part of, and she comes and listens while she weaves. And there's a nice chap who called Nauticout, and Nauticout comes along. And he joins in because although he does... macrame would be the wrong word, but he does rope work where he makes beautiful rope things from it. And although it's very different to this, there are almost some commonalities, because although I've got bobbins and I'm flinging them around, you could do it with rope. And technically you could do the rope things with bobbins. It would just be really small. Yeah, it's all string. And it's, you know, different ways of winding a bit of string. And so as a result, he comes along and he watches. And, you know, I'm not going to say it's the most fascinating thing he's ever seen, but at the same time, it's really nice. Yeah, I can do. Hang on. There you go. It's hard. Some people like watching the stitches grow, and some people like watching the bobbins move. And... you know, it's the problem with lace making is it doesn't move very fast, to be honest. And as I've got to make 18 of these, and just so you know, we are 2 triangles into our first square. There's only another 70 to go. It's going to be a while, and many of the streams are going to be very, very similar. So if you miss out on this one, well, there'll be another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, because they're all going to be the same. I'm not doing different squares. I have until I start the 5th square to make a decision. So if you look back at my picture, you can see that there's 6 squares tall, 3 squares wide, right? I could arguably do something different in the middle, or arguably something different on the outside and make this the middle. Now, this is where Liz, the indecisive, really doesn't need to be thinking about this, because it took me 2 months to pick this square, and I designed this square, but the problem I had was that it's not really the square's fault, but the original square that I made, in case you missed it, I need to click on a different button and I haven't got that. So if I click on, hang on, if I click on this was the original square that I made, and let's get rid of that. And I liked it, but not enough. This was not what I wanted in a net curtain. It didn't look right to me. So in what is the zigzags that go round the square to make the kind of bits with holes in, to be honest. They're called honeycombs, and they were interlaced with one row of ground stitch. Didn't like that so much. Then there were the spiders. Now, the spiders are what look like mistakes in that piece. The middle kind of plus sign bit has got a row of spiders. There's in each triangle there are 3 kind of forming a point. And at the bottom, so if you look at the bottom triangle, in the 2 peaks that form in the middle of that bottom row, if you look really carefully, there look to be 3 mistakes per peak. They're not the spiders, but because they look like mistakes from even slightly bit different distance, didn't want them, didn't like them. You could do spiders differently, they'd possibly look better, but I don't really like spiders. I have no problem with the actual spider, although I'm not its best friend, but this just didn't have the look that I wanted. So, what did I do? If I go back to my pillow, if I put my favourite brown cloth over the top, because it helps you see what's going on, if I put my brown cloth down, I set about designing my own and came up with this. Now this is a triangle, shocker. This little bit here, I tried a different stitch. If I zoom in a bit, hang on, zoomy, zoomy, zoom. If I zoom in on this, so you get a bit of a better look. I'll just move this, it's easier than moving the camera. Right, so this was now there are a few mistakes in this, don't get me wrong, mainly because this took 2 weeks to make. Now it took 2 weeks to make because of the word spangle. Lace bobbins traditionally have a spangle. I've just spotted one. And look like this. And those spangles suck donkey balls. Because they're on a piece of wire. So they are solid. They don't sag. Except for the fact that the wire sags and dangles, and then when you put the bobbin down, goes underneath and causes the bobbin to be at a funny angle. So when you're chucking them around, it gets in the way. Plus, it's considerably wider than the bobbin, and this is quite a small one, by the way. So it just tangled and got me tits and in the way, and it caused an awful lot of swearing. So we swore a lot, and we decided that this triangle was not going to be the first triangle, it was going to be test a triangle. And I'm very happy with the size of thread that I picked, the scale of the pattern that I picked, because I changed both of those from the original. I'm very happy with the fact that I picked the ground stitch for the inside and the outside with just the rose ground kind of squares in the middle. And so I really like this. This turned out really, really well. Hence, this is what we're making. And in fact, if I get rid of all the pins down here, you can see there is a whole triangle under there. I can possibly show you that in a bit. But it just meant that we started in a better place, and because my bobbins do not have spangles, I am stonking through at a far faster rate. Those 2 triangles took me a week. There, that's sinking. So 2 weeks to make 1 triangle, a week to make 2, but just because I didn't have spangles. So the tools do make an awful lot of difference in life, and it's not like bobbins really do anything other than hold the string, but that's cool. So yeah, it is. I like the fact that, but I want to like my neck curtain when I get to the end, and I'm really conscious that if I look at it and I can see 1,001 errors in it, my brain cell's just going to hate it, and it's going to be a bit of a labour of love. And I also realise that at some point I'm going to get really bored of making the same thing, so I will have to do a brief hiatus at some point to make something else before my brain rebels and is sick of the sight of it. But no, so far it's doing pretty well. It's not unhappy, so this is a good thing. My brain cells and I do not agree, and I don't suffer from schizophrenia or multiple personality disorder, but I definitely do have brain cells that try to kill me. And it's the devil and the angel on your shoulder, right? And it is no more complicated than the devil and the angel on your shoulder. I have brain cells sitting there going, oh, but you could make this, it's honestly, why aren't you making a king-size bedspread out of like wafer fine threads, making this look, like huge ropes from a sea ship, right? And I need a oh, that's cool. I'm sure you'll understand my statement then when I actually think that it's unfortunate in that I do feel that a lot of us are a lot closer to being like those who are diagnosed as schizophrenic than we truly would like to think. I do feel that there is, like a lot of things, is that there is a bit more of a scale to it, and that maybe I'm a bit nearer that scale than I'd like to think I am, because like everything, most people who think of things like schizophrenia, most people when they think of things like schizophrenia are thinking of the really strong cases, the really unfortunate people who are utterly plagued and their life is destroyed by it. But then, to be honest, if I say to people I'm autistic, they expect me to be rocking and licking windows. So some of it is the concept of the name rather than actually what is wrong. And exactly. We're not chewing Legos. We're not licking things. We're not all screaming because, I don't know, my mouse touched my keyboard. We're not all that bad. And there are scales. And I think that some of the more functionable people maybe go through life without a diagnosis because they are enough functionable that it kind of gets overlooked. I know that obviously when I was a kid, autism wasn't really a thing. So no one looked to see, and no one looks to see that you're autistic because, well, back then it wasn't a known problem. And I was just labelled slightly disruptive and dyslexic, although I wasn't diagnosed dyslexic, but they constantly kept telling me off for capitals in the middle of my words, missing words, using the wrong words because they were similarly sounding. But it didn't dawn on anyone I was dyslexic until I was dating someone at university and I did something and the lecturer saw it and went, would you mind doing a test? No, whatever. Yeah, it is that kind of thing. It's the people, if you think of back in the day, oh, she's a bit eccentric, would have been a really common kind of thing. But that meant a whole multitude of things, from she's frankly a downright nutter to, maybe she's got a bit of OCD, or she's got... So a lot of things, I think, there are people who, I struggle because too many people seem to want a label these days. Everyone seems to want a label. And I know some people who, frankly, have taken that as a passion. But at the same time, if you use knowing that... Yeah, that would be my teacher. My teacher was, she talks too much. Yeah, because I'm bored out my shit, love. And she doesn't try in class. Don't you dare tell me how much I tried. I'm sure you've had this in your life then. They will say to you, you're not trying. And you could have put every inch of your soul into it. And, to the point that you've cried over it, you've missed sleep. And then some asshole goes, you didn't try. Don't you dare tell me how hard I tried. You can tell me I was not effective. That may be true. But don't you tell me how much I tried. Only I know how much I tried. Now, sure, as a kid, chances were you were probably right. But sometimes, as an older person, someone has said, oh, you're not trying. Oh, well, I was. I'm not going to now. You know, I'm sorry, but you just blew that one. It's... my brain's a little bit rebellious, but I'm sorry, if you accuse me of something and I wasn't doing it, well, I'll do it now. Oh, you thought I was moody. Oh, just you wait, honey. You know, that kind of problem. What do you want, dog? Have you licked her leg? Were you licking it a lot? I think you were. But it is that kind of thing, is that I think that there are degrees and some people on the lighter end of the scales that appear not, you know, different, but normal enough that people do not raise the question and send them to find out, do you suffer from this? Because maybe if they found out they had insert whatever it is, it may not change their world, but it may help other people understand them. And to me, that is something that I think most of us struggle with, is we don't mind necessarily being different, but what we don't need is the people kind of going, you're different and you're weird and you're stupid because you're not like me. And you just want people to understand that maybe you think differently to them. Why have I only got, 3 bobbins there? That's a worrying thought. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. There must be another one of you around somewhere. Where's your friend? There needs to be a friend for you somewhere. Why have you not got a friend? Did I miscount? 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. You need to go in there. Go in there. Keep out the way. Right. Panic over. But I think, you know, with a lot of the labels and differences that people have, I don't like to think of them as disabilities, because it is a differently abled scenario, in that there are things that I excel at that so many other people will not. If I'm at work and shit's going down, and I mean major shit's going down, and I've done it quite a few times, shit's going down, everyone's, oh my god, the end of the world. I'll be sitting there going, fine, form a queue, I'll fix it. I'm calm, I'm good. Queue up, be British, form a queue. When I shout your name, we'll deal with your shit, we'll fix your shit, and we'll move on. And I've done that to out a problem from work. It was a few months ago. It was beginning of the year, actually. Our network team instigated a change which caused the network to fart. Actually, it shit itself really badly. To the point, our entire production site staff went offline, shit itself, and came back online. But the Windows servers all did what Windows does best, which was come up and kind of go, fucking didn't like that. All the Unix servers, my responsibility, went, I'm not sure about this disk now. You need to check this disk before I do it, otherwise I might break something, because Unix is a little bit prissy. And so I got everyone in a group, and right, form a queue, and I worked through, and because they couldn't get onto their servers because the system that allows them to log into their servers was down, I had a way in. It was not pleasant, but I had a way in. So I sat there, right, which server do you need? I need this one. Right, what do I do to start it? Well, now you need to start this server. Okay, I've started this server. Okay, go back to the first server, type in this. Okay, done that, done that, done that. It says this. Right, done that, right, done that. What do I need to do this one? Right, done that, done that, done that. Right, next. Is that everything you need? Yes, you go away. If you have any more problems, you go to the back of the queue and we'll start again. And I killed it all, and I got highly recommended for keeping my calm and sorting everybody out and being the solution, not the problem kind of thing. And I'd identified what the problem was. I proved that the network could shit itself, and there was no change control for it, and I worked it all out, what had happened, and it was fine. Networks did it again to the non-production area, because for some reason they did production first. I mean, no one does production first, but they did. And so I had to do it again. And again, I got praised for it. And it's like, they're not my servers. if all of them, I mean, I'm on call, so if they were on fire, my phone would probably ring, right? But if they were on fire, I don't mind. Not my servers, are they? I could be calm about that. Because they're not mine. I can have that distinction of, they are my responsibility. I want them to be happy. I want them to be up. I want to be left alone, so I want you to be happy and not talking to me about it. So, you know, I can do that. But at the same time, if they're all down and the world shit itself, I'm good at that. And exactly. Now, but there were everyone else all around me was losing their stuff because they didn't know what to do and didn't know how to do this and weren't sure how to prioritise things. And it's like, well, they all need to come back. So priority really almost doesn't matter. There are a few things that need to be up first, and I happen to know roughly what some of those are. So those got dealt with pretty quickly. One of them was in our own team, so that was even easier. But it was, you know, people just kind of, everyone was around me was losing their heads, and I'm sitting there going, why? It's not going to help. When I had cancer. Yeah, I mean, yes, it would be really helpful if you could see all of their notes, but you've probably been speaking to these people for the last year. You know enough about them. Yes, you may not know their last blood pressure off the top of your head, but, you know, it's that kind of thing. Is there's a bit of you that kind of goes, you remember that they're on medication for something. You know that if they took it, say, twice a day. You know, most of us don't go through a blanking phase as you leave the building. You know, you can't entirely forget it. You may not take it home, but you don't entirely forget it. It's still lurking around in there. So if you can't see it for a bit, run it on a piece of paper and come back to it later. You know, obviously if they're in agony, you know, if you worked in A&E and you know, you needed an X-ray and you needed to know what was wrong with them, well, you kind of need to know what's wrong with them. But there are still ways of dealing with that. And, you know, have we really got to a point where we cannot cope when the computer farts for an hour, right? And the answer seems to be, yeah, we have. Certainly where I work. And we make airplane parts, by the way. And you'd think that we're keeping people alive on cryogenics, you really would. But, and so we find ourselves, you know, my role is to ensure that about 300 servers stay up, whatever. And, well, I've had words with them. They stay up. That's how it works. And, you know, so for the best part, I'm on call and I'm not expecting that phone to ring because my servers know better, right? Seriously, my servers know better. The only thing that can break my servers are other people. Well, exactly. We're the kind, you know, and again, I think that is a level of... Yes, and I think that because if, you know, and I think that's kind of an area where autistic kind of people can excel because they've been doing that their whole lives. To try and pretend to be normal, we already have almost like a big computer program running around in our heads with routines for this and if this is true, do that, else do this, and all of this stuff going on. And so when shit goes down, I've got a routine for that, that's fine. And off you go. And even if you don't have a routine, you know all of the bits that where everything's supposed to be. You know how to get them to where they're supposed to be. So you go off and do them. You don't panic because your brain just kind of goes, oh, I need to go over there. I'll do that then. And it's you know, and so it's not a disability. And I think that too many people try and get a label these days because they want to kind of go, well, once you know I have insert whatever, I don't have to try to be normal. Now, I'm not saying we should all be normal because that would be really boring. But at the same time, you do need to understand how the rest of society kind of requires you to be so that you don't offend them. Because, well, frankly, they're easy to offend. They can also be really offensive, so, you know, it's kind of fair. But it is if you want to be kind of accepted and taken seriously, you need to try and be enough in at least some situations like a normal person. And because we've then built up ideas and ways of how to handle more autistic level portions, so for example, I can have a complete meltdown and normally most people won't notice. I did break once so badly I had to ring a co-worker and he was prepared to drive the 40 odd miles to come and see me because I was broken in half. It was not my fault. Long story short, something happened. Well, one of the teams had done something, forgot they did something. We then patched. When everything restarted, loads of things didn't work because they'd done something. And I got the blame for it. And my manager accused me of refusing to help, when actually what I did was I pointed out the error. I pointed out the error file, and that while it is not my bag, that Google almost certainly has more information on it, because no offence, when you go into the Apache log and it says log file this does not exist, how much more information do you actually friggin' need? Especially when you're the web team. And so he accused me of breaking it and refusing to help. And I actually pointed out, at no point had I actually been asked to help. I'd had a message from one of the people in our team, and we don't do web, and I'd replied that the error was in this file and that's what it meant, and that, you know, that would not be the place to store said file anyway, so, you know, perhaps they needed to just make a new one and change it in the log file. And apparently this was me refusing, and my brain just went and exploded, and I just couldn't cope with it. And as I was on the phone to my co-worker, boss rang, so I had to leave. He never apologised. He thinks he apologised, but he never actually apologised. The word sorry never came out of his mouth, or apologise. But he did talk to me and then understood that I had done a reasonable effort. I'd pointed out that this is the error, this is, you know, even though they already had it, this is the error, this is a solution. I am not a web guru, even though I actually know quite a lot about it. But, you know, and I had done something, and it is not our role and responsibility to do their job for them. We employ them for that. You know, so to be fair, I was trying to be helpful, and you've now told me that I was being, you know, I'd been kind of rude and refused to do it. And it's like, no, that is not the case. But he never apologised. But I was a bit too broken on that occasion. But normally I sit there with a face like a slack butt and keep quiet for a bit. And I did occasionally have some really seriously close moments, and I used to have a really good co-worker. His name was Greg. Sadly he died, but Greg was the best person in the world. From the very first day he arrived there, he and I were destined to be great friends. And ads, freaking ads. Maybe I should change that to hourly in 3 minutes to keep the thing happy. It says that everything says there are ads in progress. Oh well. We have actually had it say that there are ads, or that the ad thing came up, because obviously Twitch tell me when there are ads, and I've got a big green screen saying ad break in progress, ends in 30 seconds. So, but I've had it where it sits there going ads starting soon, and like 2 minutes later it's still ads starting soon, and they never actually got round to it, kind of thing. So, whatever, Twitch. But I had a friend, so my co-worker Greg was a really, really nice guy. In fact, he was singly the best guy I ever worked with, I think. On his very first day, he arrived, and I kind of looked at him and went, look, I'm really sorry, I've got to upgrade this, I have never done it before, never installed it before. We're doing lots of things that I've been kind of hinted at, the fact that this is not something we should be doing alone, but I've been told I've got to do it anyway. We're supposed to have like a company in to come and do it. So I'm going to be a bit grouchy. You are welcome to watch, add opinions, but I am likely to be in a bit of a mood. And he sat down and he watched me do it, because, he didn't really have anything else to do. And he watched me do it because it was Windows based, and he wasn't really a Windows guy because he was a Unix guy, as technically am I. And, well, I'm actually very both, but in work at this company, I am a Unix person. And it's you two, but that's not, you're only 3. Why are there only 3 there? I just need to work this out. So, you 2 are from there. That's good. You must be wrong. Yes, you are wrong. You, my friend, are there. Right. Let's do that. Actually, I know what we need to do. No, that's right. So yeah, Greg sat down, and I was doing stuff on the server, and he didn't occasionally he would ask very careful questions. He would kind of wait till I got to a kind of a bollocks kind of stage, and he'd go, so what is that bit? And I'd explain what that bit was, and he was very helpful. Tea? Yes. And he would go and get my mug, and because I had tea bags and stuff at my desk, and so he'd go and get a drink and come back. He even went and got me a sandwich, so I didn't have to stop. I didn't have to go down the shop for the sandwich. Anyway, come the end of it, we then had to upgrade. I think it was 90-something clients to match the software I'd just upgraded. So I went to a command prompt and went, right, I wrote this, but because we're not allowed to use the sysinternals one, so I've got a PS exec type thing that I wrote. It's exactly like PS exec, except for the fact that I wrote it. And, well, we can run that one because it doesn't flag up on all the tools. So I ran, for in server, run this, copy this, to a new folder, run this command, blah, blah, blah. Well, actually, my command copies. You point at a folder and say, copy that shit, and then you can say what to run that involves it. And he kind of went, I said, and as it's kind of spewing through, occasionally it said, fuck you, as computers do. So I wrote down a few server names, it got to the end, and we did them manually, and it was all good. Then we went to do the Unix ones, and we basically did the same thing. And he went, you're clever, you are. And I went, well, not really, I wasn't going to do it all by hand the hard way, was I? And he went, yeah, but that's clever, that is. I couldn't have done that. Anyway, so we got on like a house on fire, and we did the whole time we were there. And occasionally something would happen, and I'd get a face full of crap for something. And I'd sit there staring at my screen with kind of the face star slapped. And he'd go, you all right? And I'd go, no, not really. And he would come back with a cup of tea. We ate many biscuits and many sweets. To the point when he finally left, because, well, the company decided we didn't need him anymore. But when he finally left, we kept in contact. And he used to ring me, and we used to have endless chats about stuff. And we had a kind of a few in phrases which haven't entirely left, to be honest. One of which was that I work with a large number of people whose names we cannot pronounce, and so they got referred to keyboard sneezes. But we used to joke because many of the people, it felt like, and it may or may not be true. So you lied on your CV and got the job. How come you've still got it? Because frankly, you're almost too stupid to get a glass of water. How is it then that you've still got a job? And he used to make me feel so much better. And he came to me one day. I was technically no longer working with him, but he was still there. And I'd moved on to do a slightly different role. Well, actually, before then we had as I left the backup team. So I left the backup team one Friday. 12 o'clock, ding, hurrah, I'm finally free of the job I never wanted, because I'd never signed up to do backups. I'd not applied to do backups, I just ended up with it. And it was kind of the bane of my life. And I hated every minute of it. And just as I was leaving, this little kind of voice came down the hall. Oh, they've messed up the tapes. Well, how have you messed up the tapes? You have boxes. There are boxes of tapes. Every week there were boxes of tapes. And you had a box for one network, a box for another network, and... That doesn't look right somehow. No, it is. And, you know, you had the incoming box, you had an outgoing box, so you technically had 4 boxes, but one box would be empty because it's in the machine. So what you did is, you got the new box, you had to scan them into as now in use, because I wrote the system that did the scanning, because we needed to know where tapes were at all times. And you then took the new tapes to the tape machine, emptied them out in a pile on the floor, because there was nowhere else to put them. You then ran the command on the machine that span out all the tapes, so it spits out all the tapes, you file them into the box. You then feed all the ones that are on the floor into the machine. You come back with the box, you scan them into the box, and then you leave them there. How do you get that wrong? Now, at month end, technically, you could have had 3 if you didn't follow the procedure. Because, of course, all the incrementals were supposed to come out on Friday. So that over the weekend, only the full run would be in the machine, and only the full run goes in the month-end box that stays for 13 months. Really not that hard. So, of course, if you followed that, you took the currently empty box down to the machine, got out all the used tapes at this point, plonked them in the box, scanned them in the box, put the box away. Come Monday morning, you don't need that box no more, because you don't need that box no more. You put all the shit in it on Friday. So you only have the month-end box, which is effectively a replacement of a week box, and you put those in. Well, you get the new box and the month-end box. You take the week box, you put it in the machine, and you take the month-end box and put it in the week box, because you can't use it for another 6 weeks yet. So the week box goes straight back from where it came, because you'll never use that again. And then the month-end box gets the tapes that were in the machine. Ta-da, right? So you can't get in a pickle. But somehow we worked out, because we had lists and we scanned all the tapes, and we identified every tape in every box as to where it should be, because we also knew who did it, because I'd written that in the system too. And what they must have done is they must have had 6 open boxes at one point in time, and basically just put a tape in a box. But if you follow the system, you only ever really had 1 open box. So, well, then you stuffed up, didn't you? And of course, they immediately, even though they've been doing it for about 18 months at this point, the people who've been doing the tapes, because my boss had insisted that they did the tapes, not me, because I used to do the tapes, and it was really boring, don't get me wrong. Was not sad to see it go, but he insisted that kind of like a particular, let's call them a lower level team, did them, not the L3 kind of thing. And they then suddenly went, oh, it's too complicated. And I explained to my 2 bosses what the problem was and what this team had done and how to fix it. And they went, don't get it. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. So I spent, bear in mind we don't work Friday afternoons. By Friday lunchtime, I've done my hours. I get to go home. I spent the entire Friday afternoon with Greg, scanning tapes, writing down tapes, planning which boxes they had to go in, and then putting them where they should be. And again, very something we autistic people are good at. Here is a pile of shit. Unshitify it. Okay. So I did. And, you know, once again, heralded the saviour of all, but it wasn't even my job anymore. But, you know, the guy whose job it was, even when we showed him what the problem was, and, right, so when they've obviously had these 6 boxes, we've got to empty all of those 6 boxes, look in the tape unit to see when they were actually last used, and then put them in the right according box. It's no more complicated than that. I don't get it. This is your job now, hun. And he went home. Much to the amusement of Greg. Greg didn't have a very high opinion of him. Which is why he didn't get to stay too long afterwards, I think. But it was, yeah. I fixed it, as always. I think that year I got told I was useless. But there we go. Had a few of those in my time. So yes, I loved Greg. And the saddest part was one Friday he rang me and because he was working in Exeter and he lived up in Cannock. And if you don't know where Cannock is, it's kind of northeast of Birmingham, right? So it's kind of a long drive from Exeter to Cannock. So he phoned me to kind of chat along the way. And we had a long chat and he said, well, how about next week I stop by on my way home? Oh, Greg, you don't want to do that. Your journey's long enough already. Last thing you want to do is stop by here. And he went, yeah, but I like you. And his wife knew of me and, we hadn't met, but we'd, indirectly knew far too much about the others. To the point that evening, sadly, he was going to his son's boxing match, who was not that you found out, but was about to win this particular level of boxing match that he was at. And he dropped dead there and then, getting ready for it. And I got a phone call on the Monday from initially kind of like some wailing woman, and it's like, hello? What the fuck's this? It's Greg's wife. Hi, what's the matter? He died. What? And it was about a month after my dad. So I was already a little bit sad from my dad. And which is, I think, part of the reason Greg had thought to come and see me. And it was just such a shock. I mean, don't get me wrong, Greg had a lot of health issues. So, to an extent, not unexpected. But at the same time, even when you kind of know it's coming, that's not right. What the fuck is going? What am I doing? It's not right. So yeah, it was a very sad moment because I've never worked with someone who got on so well. Yeah, we do. I currently have one. He's called Steve. I have a Steve at the moment, and Steve is a wondrous and great and glorious thing. And I'm there for Steve. Steve's there for me. It is, as I say, a great and glorious thing. And to have a work bestie that, would you have bumped into them on the street and necessarily been friends? Maybe not. But you become friends through work and, maybe they've grown on you a bit. Maybe they didn't grow on you a bit. Maybe they annoyed you so much that you became friends anyway. But I have a Steve, and Steve pings my phone quite a lot. She says, actually checking. No Steve. Wow. Oh, it's almost the longest time without a Steve message. But I've met Steve's family briefly. Funnily enough, about a week or so ago. I know them well. I've texted his wife a couple of times. I won't say. Dawns can be good. Dawns can be good. I mean, as long as it's not a Karen in disguise, it can be a good thing. Yeah, I'd probably struggle with that. I mean, it's true. You don't need a separate keyboard, but yeah, you do have a keyboard. It's burnt to your laptop, love. I can be slightly pedantic like that. And oh dear God, you'll like me then. Oh dear God, dear God. If it helps, we had a guy who was an intern, and I had a bit of a problem with him. I'm not gonna pretend that I didn't, and he still works here. But he, during his intern, because his boss was in America, and I'll just say he was into sport. So, oh well, the cricket was on, so I came in late. I'm sorry, what? I've been here since 7 o'clock this morning. I didn't want to be here at 7 o'clock this morning, but that is the hours that I am required. I'm required to do 8.5 hours Monday to Thursday with a half-hour lunch. I have to be on this site for 9 hours. You're waltzing in at 11 o'clock because, oh, you wanted to watch tennis today. Oh, you do know you have to do a job, right? Anyway, he got really shitty with some other interns because he was a second-year intern and they were the first-year interns, because sometimes we invite them back. So he was like a return intern. He told everyone how much he earned, which turns out he was earning more than me. He told everyone that he'd written a website, but didn't realise that C drive was a local machine and not a network drive, and therefore not backed up. And I went, so you take that shit home, right? Because it was his laptop. And he went, well, yeah. And I went, so how do you think I backed that up overnight? And he went, well, it's a network drive. And I went, so when you fire it up at home, how do you think that's a network drive? And he couldn't concatenate two cells in Excel. And I actually said the immortal words, you're not computer literate, are you? Yeah, he didn't like me much after that. Do you know what? What a shame. He was an intern. He is now, he came back after his second year of intern. Well, yeah, but he came back after that year and they made him a manager. And you're sitting there going, I'm sorry, I wouldn't let you get me a cup. I wouldn't let you work in the frigging coffee shop. It's just as well it's not my decision then, isn't it? But he's still there. They haven't fired him. Don't know how, but they haven't fired him. Yeah. We've got quite a few of those. Or people of similar kind of... Yeah. In fact, I know of one very closely in my organisation like that. He's got an interesting nickname. Because, well, you got to amuse yourself somehow, haven't you? But then, of course, this is why I'm not a manager, because I just couldn't tolerate these people. I just couldn't do it. I would not put up with it. Wonder if I'll get to be a manager next time. Things are afoot. Not sure if I'm allowed to say or not, but there are changes afoot, and I might technically, they might not have a lot of choice, which could be amusing. I'll just chew through a few useless employees, make their lives hell. I don't mind people who can't do a job because they don't know. I have no problem with that. If you don't know something and therefore you don't know how to do it, and maybe you haven't ever been taught how to teach yourself to do it, don't have a problem. But once you've been told and asked, do you understand? And you say yes, don't be lying and saying no one's told you. Ooh, don't be doing that. Not good with that at all. Worked with one of those. I was sitting in an office once and this girl screamed out, I don't understand this, no one's ever explained it to me. So I went over and explained it to her. And it wasn't hard. But I went over and I didn't explain it like she was 3. I sat down and said, right, so, you know when this happens, yes, and this makes this happen, right? And you know, all of that. And she seemed perfectly good. And I said, you happy? And she went, yeah, thank you for that. She got up, she walked straight into my manager and complained that I'd patronised her by telling her how to do it. Go screw yourself, love. Just sod off. Don't be screeching to the entire office that no one's explained it. So I explain it, and then you then go and claim that I've been patronising when that's exactly what you asked for. Just don't. Just leave me alone. Don't need those people. So I wish you luck with your dawn. We have some dawn-like people, for sure. The world doesn't need them. Really, it doesn't. When I was younger, I worked at a company, and we had a guy who was very limited in understanding and education. But he was a really nice kid. And he was the kind of kid that you gave shit jobs. So if you needed to take this filing cabinet and sort it into alphabetical order, you'd give it to him. This is what he excelled at. And everyone has something they excel at. And his was doing shitty, boring jobs. People used to take the piss out of him. A lot. And they used to pick on him. A lot. And I took exception to it because, well, he was a nice kid. And I pointed out to a lot of these people. So, when was the last time you gave Stephen a job? Oh, we got him to do this yesterday. And I said, who else in your office would have done that? Oh, no one would have done it. It's a shit job. Exactly. So don't be picking on him. He does all the things that you hate or don't want to do. And he enjoys doing them. And if you ask him to do something and you tell him how to do it, he will do as well on the first one as he will do on the 9,999,999 of them. And if it takes him 4 weeks to do, because there are that many, he will still be doing it with a smile on his face. He will not complain. He will thoroughly enjoy it because he's helping. So don't pick on him for it, because you will not find anyone else who will do that for you. And they were like, oh, well, yeah, but he's stupid. Well, he maybe seemed stupid in some ways. And he was terribly gullible. But that does not mean you pick on him for it. It's either that or you do your own shit jobs and off you go. And he used to appreciate that I would stand up for him. And I always wondered what happened to him, because his future was not necessarily going to be bright. But at the same time, he had a talent. And it was a talent of doing shitty jobs really well and without complaint. I can't say I can do that. I can do shitty jobs. I can't say I don't complain about it, though. It's one of the things I struggled with one of my managers for, because I did backups and I never wanted to. And I said, I hate it. And he goes, well, but you still got to do it, you know, you still have to try. I said, I do it to the best of my ability. But you can't expect me to do it with a smile on my face and all. That's a bit too far. But I will, if I agree to do a job, which I have, even if I don't want to do it, I will always do it as well as I can. Mainly because I don't want to have to do it again. And do it, you know, because I got it wrong. But I will do it to the best of my ability, because that is how it should be done. And a number of people don't understand that. They don't understand how you can not want to do something, but still and absolutely hate it, and then do it properly. Mainly because everyone else has refused to do it, and someone's got to do it, and I'm somebody. You know, it has to be done. And I am very much that person. So let me quickly count. I've got 3 there, which means there's more of you. So that's you. That gives me 1, 2, 3, which is right. We have the right number of things. Oh, look. Ads start in 2.5 minutes. What if we actually get some this time? or whether you get some this time. We shall find out. We shall find out. But I'm very glad you're here. It would be a bit boring without you. But now at least I know, if nothing else, I can turn some music on. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, ad start in just under 2 minutes. Tuesday tomorrow. Or is it Tuesday today? No, it's Tuesday today. It's Wednesday tomorrow. I lose track of what day it is. Yeah. Must remember to do the bins tomorrow. For some reason, my old house, bins went out Thursday night for Friday. And my brain thought that was a great idea. Because the bins got collected just before the weekend, so you could fill them up at the weekend. And then they'd wait around all week. You put them out in time for next weekend. Our bin day is Thursday. And I've been here 6 years now. And my brain still cannot handle it needing to put the bin out on a Wednesday night. Because, well, we haven't done shit for the week yet. It's just not the right day for me. Doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. 10 seconds. What bins is it this week? I put it in my diary so I wouldn't forget. Well, I will forget. Green and brown. Okay. Fair enough. what shiny ads did you have this time? Yeah, Twitch ads are a little bit weird. Mind you, all of the ads seem to be a bit weird these days. "99% of the ads I get on Facebook and YouTube are, you're old, you must want that really new concealer stroke, foundation stroke, whatever, that won't sink in your skin and make you look crappy." No, love, I've only worn makeup one day in my life. I have no need for this. I don't need this shit. Stop showing me the same in advert. I don't need it. I didn't need it then. I don't need it now. Stop rolling down. I do want you a bit flatter than that. Still, you two. Yeah, my problem is that my biggest problem was, and I don't know where I put it. Where the hell did I put that? There he is. My problem is these, frankly, are the work of the devil. I know that everybody else likes them. I hate them. I hate them because when you do that, the bobbin doesn't sit right, and then when you're trying to toss them around, and because I roll them between, as you'll soon see, I'm about to do it again, so, no, you see, this is it, hence, I've got these continental ones, I've got some really fat, chubby continental ones, they're glorious, but they're really hard to find, and I've just ordered some other fat continental bobbins, because, well, I like fat continental bobbins, because I've got man hands. I don't have thin, dainty fingers, I have chubby hands and big fingers, and as a result, if you watch how I quickly zoom over this cloth stitch, you'll soon discover why Spangles got on my tits a lot. So, for example, I move one and then I do this. Spangles make doing this freaking impossible. Death to Spangles. Screw Spangles. And they tangle and they get stuck under the bobbin. One of the bobbins that I've got, it's like, it feels like it's as wide as the wretched pillow is, right? It's unnecessarily fat spangled. And if they had like one little lead bead attached to the bottom to give it a bit of weight, fine. If it had a couple in maybe a triangle, 4 in a triangle, so they didn't roll, but it was quite thin, fine. But proper spangled bobbins? No, I'm throwing those on bonfires. Come November the 5th, I am adding kindling to bonfires. Of course, I have to pull out all the plastic ones. Oh, don't! Yeah. You kind of want to set light to the whole thing. It's just so frustrating. And so, as I was explaining to earlier, was that when I made this triangle, where's my brown square of dividing cloth? Hang on. It helps you lot see a bit clearer. I made this. And this originally was going to be the first triangle of the many, many. We have done 2 out of 72. But this was going to be the first. But I started it with spangled bobbins. By the time I got to about here, so I started here, by the time I got to around here, no, we are not, this is not going to be the triangle of firstness. This is not going to be the one. This triangle, oh, yeah, I can relate to that. Yes, I do try and stream most evenings, but I will definitely be around Friday, so it will be a pleasure to see you on Friday. But yeah, so when I was making this, I literally got like this far, and it's like, stuff bobbins, stuff these bobbins. I hate these bobbins. So I made this. I knew at that point that this was never going to be the one. So there were a few mistakes in it. I didn't bother fixing them because, well, it wasn't going to be the one. And then I tried a bit of a different stitch here, and I liked the stitch. It was a stitch I saw somewhere, and basically it's honeycomb stitch, but you cross two of the threads in the middle, and it really screams kitchen. It's kind of makes a circle with a cross in it, and I really quite like it. I mean, I can zoom in a bit. Hang on. We can zoom in. And you might be able to make out the circles. Especially if I move this up a little bit. So you can kind of make out there's a little bit of a circle with a plus sign through it. And I like it, but it's not what I wanted for my neck curtain. So I've stuck with the ground stitch and the rose ground and trying not to make mistakes, which is harder than it sounds, as we all know. Especially when your brain cells keep going, you screwed that up. Did I? How did I screw that up? Yeah, you screwed that up. Are you sure? No, but now you thought that you might have. Now you're going to overthink it for 20 minutes, and you're going to spend hours counting things and checking things, and discover that you probably hadn't, but you'll undo some on the grounds that you're not entirely sure. And we're doing a lot of that. And I did a lot of work because doing this cloth stitch, there are 6 bobbins when you get to put that pin in, 5 bobbins when you put that pin in, but coming down should be different. But I'm a little bit concerned because I've got, well, 5 bobbins here and a 6th pair for a worker. So I wasn't expecting to have 6, I was expecting to have 5. So I'm not quite sure how I've screwed up because I seem to have taken out a pair everywhere I should. And I don't know quite how I could have screwed it up, but maybe I did. Oh look, there I did. There it is. Yeah, there it is. Stupid twat. Yeah, there it is. Now I've got to undo it all again. See, this is what happens. I knew something was wrong and my brain was going, this doesn't feel right, but I'm not doing all that counting and working it out again because we spent a lot of time on stream doing that. And drawing pictures of when you pin it, you have this many. No, because then when I look at the neck curtain on my window, my brain would go, look, there it is, can't possibly leave it. So as it's not that far back, I shall undo, because it really isn't that far back. I mean, it's back at the beginning of this little chunk, but it's not, you know. The hardest part is these extra fine wafer thin pins. I freaking hate these pins. It's because I should have had a pair at this pin back here, and I only have one at the next pin down. So that's what, 2, 4, 6, 8 rows back. It's not that far. I mean, it's far enough that you hate yourself, but it's not so far that, you know, it's not going to take me a week to come back to it. So it's not like it's back here somewhere, in which case I probably would say screw it. But it is not, it's not that bad. So we can do this. This is fine. Especially as I cheat for cloth stitch. I know technically it's not cheating, it's perfectly valid, but because I don't do like 4 moves for a cross stitch, I do 2. Doesn't take that long. You can get up quite a speed, really. What are you licking? Dog A bit dog B earlier and took out a lump in her leg. It has not required veterinary treatment, but it may do if it gets infected. But I can hear a lot of licking. And you have nothing wrong with you. You do not need to lick. Says the dog that was licking. So, yeah. We are unimpressed with the dog population right now. For this very, very reason. Because Day's been naughty. They're brother and sister. And occasionally they fight like brother and sister of humans do. There is just this kind of... And earlier tonight, they were literally sitting on the floor watching me eat my dinner. There was no chance that they thought one was going to get a treat and not the other, because I'd barely started my dinner, so it's not even like I'd even suggested that there was going to be any left for the dog. Usually there is not. And I do not leave food. I did not get fat from not eating it. And next thing I knew, there was growl, 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 snap, 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 ow, 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 and one dog now was standing there with a leg up going, I hurt, I hurt, I hurt. Yeah, well, you're probably starting it. So I've checked her over, I've glued it back together, because that is a thing, and I'm going to keep an eye on it for infections, but dog. Do not need dog. It's bad enough that over the weekend they knocked my pillow off and I spent 90 minutes untangling bobbins because I used different bobbin holders. I used these bobbin holders, and these bobbin holders are great except for one small problem. Oh, I've kind of linked them all together at the moment, so let me unloop them. The biggest problem with these bobbin holders is that I like them because there's a big flat bit, but if you put if I hold the elastic, you can see by the fact that, well, you can't really see because my big fat finger's in the way, but if I hold it's really close to the end of where the loop is. So if I put the loop over the end, these then stretch a really long way. So in the course of gravity and the sudden changes of directions, bobbins are effectively free to do the tangle. Whereas these ones, much as there is a design flaw in that, as this flat bobbin, this one clearly demonstrates, you have to twist it to put the needle in, which makes it really awkward. But these only pull this far out, so they are much firmer in holding my bobbins, and I like them dearly, hence I got some more today. But I was not happy with dogs over the weekend because I spent 90 minutes untangling bobbins and then didn't quite feel up to streaming for a long time as a result. I only did a short stream because, well, I was kind of bobbined out, and I'm kind of in less of an enthusiastic mood today because, well, the dogs had a scrap and I'm conscious that one of them's kind of walking around with a bit of a limp because obviously there's a bit of a bruise with it as well, and just don't be needing it. Don't be needing it. Never mind. Oh, I'm sure you're milking that dog. I'm not going to contest that it doesn't hurt, but there's no way it hurts that badly. Do you know how I know it doesn't hurt that badly? The moment there was food in the kitchen, you put full weight on it. Right, so we are now at the point of screw up that we can fix. So we want to undo this and pull out this pin. Undo twisty twisty. Undo you. Throw you out over there. Put in a pin. And work our way down. It's a bit long for doing this, but never mind. So I'm definitely would rather fix it than leave it, but I still have tolerances. I'm still not, you know, I'm only going to go back so far, you know. We do review each triangle at the end, playing spot the errors. The first one had more than I was comfortable with, but the second one was pretty damn near perfect, so that was good. I'm trying for them to be perfect, but I know they're not going to be, but it doesn't stop you trying. I don't want to knowingly have errors in it. So let's put you out to 2. Let me shorten you, because you are being annoying by just being the right length to fall off the bobbin. And moreover, I'm not convinced I've got enough yarn on each one. Even though I swear I put 2 meters on everything, which should have been more than enough. Apparently not. I didn't cross you because I'm an idiot. That pin. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. How have I got 7 now? For the love of God! Oh, for fuck's sake, people. I am the stupidest woman in the history of the world sometimes. I did this the other day and it was almost like the more I touched it, the more mistakes I made and the less I got right. So let's undo this, because frankly, I've done it again. How? I mean, I know how, but what? How am I so stupid sometimes? It's really not that hard. My internet fart again. So, take you out. Undo. You need to go over there. Get a pin. You go over there. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's better. Goodness gracious me. All that effort. Dear goodness me. Don't need to do that, already done that. Come on, round you come. Time for a drink. Potential ads in 1 minute 45. It's all right, little girl. Sis. Amy, come here. Come on. Come here. Come on. Oh. Come on. No, poorly paw. Oh no. It hurts, doesn't it? Oh, I know. Let me look. Come here. I know, it's sore and bruised, isn't it? Yeah. There. Oh. There. Hey. No. There. I know. Sore paw. I know, sweetie. I know. I know. I know. I know. Maureen Maury bits you. Yes. But don't pretend you probably didn't have something to do with it. No. No. Yes, you. Yes, you. Yes, you. No. Silly. That's the Germany. Let's put a bit of this on. Oh no. Smelly stuff. It is. Germany smelly stuff. But it'll make it feel better. It will. Oh no. I know. But then you shouldn't pick fights with your brother. Because you usually come off second hand, don't you? It's very rare that he has the holes. It is. But I am keeping an eye on you. Yes. Because if it is infected, I need to go see Mr. Vet. And I don't have a car. Which will get complicated, won't it? Yes. You are quite warm, aren't you? But then you're always quite... You randomly, both of you, get quite warm. So I don't think you're too hot, actually. Hey, my little girl. We need a bit of fuss because Rory bit her leg and we're milking it. I'm not pretending it doesn't hurt, but I do think we are making the most of a bad moment, aren't we? I do think we are. Yes. Problem is you can't tell me. It's quite a good chomp at that, to be honest. It was touch and go whether we needed the vet immediately, but I don't think we do. But we do need to keep an eye on the potential germs. If it swells and looks infected, then she's going to have to go. And I don't know quite how to get her there. Because my car's knackered. This doesn't feel right. 2, 3, 4. It's only supposed to be 5. One, 2, 3, 4. Have I been miscounting my brain cells again? Or have I screwed up somewhere? Yeah, I've miscounted somewhere. And I don't think you are due in yet. No, you're not. So that meant too much came in last time, I think. Once least it was a different mistake this time. Manash, or whatever I was doing with that. So right, you came out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but there shouldn't be 5, so I've screwed up before now. Back we go. And I was doing so well. If we get back to the start, I should be mad. Somewhere I must have added 2 somehow, and it's not here. Five. Let me look at my picture. It's not that picture. Delete you. It's that picture. So there'd be 6 there, which means 5, 5. There's 1, gain 1. So now I should have 5 when I get to this side, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. But then I gain 1 and that makes 6, so I definitely screwed up somewhere. I think I know where I went wrong now. I reckon I added 1 the first corner and I wasn't supposed to. Let's make you a bit shorter because you're getting a bit long. Which means I need you back. screwed it up on the first inside pin. Jesus. But I didn't. So how is this wrong? One, two, three, 4, 5. This is right. We are right at this point. So, you can all sod off over here. You are right. Hang up before we do that. You need to sod off. That might be what was wrong. I hadn't sodded one off. Again. Bent. Go away. Getting a little tired of making very silly mistakes of this, but it just proves how easy it is to make silly mistakes doing this. It's also 11 o'clock, so maybe I'm beginning to make silly mistakes. extra. Teach me not to count my bobbins more early, I suppose. Where's my picture again? I need to check some. Where's my point again? 5. You don't lose one there, so that's 5. So you lose one there. You get to there, it's 5. But it's not 5 because it's 6. That makes that 6, which makes that 7, which makes that 6, which makes that 5. So I'm right. I just need to adjust my numbers on my picture. Ooh, wait. I fucked up somewhere. How have I done that? It's because you, my friend, belong in the whole bath. And you do sod off. Two, three, 4. This is right. And we put you away so that we don't confuse ourselves. So I was right. I think you are the bobbins I want. You're not. You come out the bottom. So where's the other half of you? What the fuck have I done? I don't think I did this pin right. My bobbin's all gone wonky again. This pin I don't think is right. I screwed that up somehow. Screwed that up, so let's undo you, because you are supposed to be joined together and you were supposed to be joined together. So undo this. So, you, I don't think are right. So, I think you're wrong. I think I used some wrong bobbins. because you shouldn't be on your own, and you should be. You are actually right. It's you that were wrong. There we go. You get to go over here, and you now get to be part of this, as you were. But now you have the friend that you should. Ha! Right. Wow, that was hard work. A lot more work than it should have been. A lot more work than it should have been. But we have completed the rose ground and that. Tomorrow we will do that section and those probably, and see how far we can get. We shall see how far we can get. So, stick for you. Stick, 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 stick. Bit longer than it should be, but they're together, which is important. Right. I'm going to put you around here to make you out of the way for the moment, and I'm going to cover you up with my heavy cloths, which I love, and then my brown one for a good measure. And I'm going to see who's about to raid on, because I think that's a thing that we should be doing. Let's go see. It's not really your bag, and I think there's only me, so. Let's have a look. See what we can see. Let's not. I'm just going to end the stream today. It's been great having you all here. Don't forget, if you want to watch me live and you haven't, make sure you subscribe on Twitch. And then you don't have to subscribe, sorry, you have to follow on Twitch. I don't expect you to subscribe. It would be nice if you did, but if you follow, you'll get notified when I go online, and you'll be able to catch me probably tomorrow. See you there.